Welcome to GoFor Lunch. Glad to have you here. And of course, it is Tuesday. So happy Tuesday. So why are we spelling it so funny? Well, that's because it's 2/22 of 22. February 22nd, 2022. So it's a Tuesday. Kind of fun. So today we're going to talk about Gmail two-step authentication, whether you want it or not. So this is GoFor Lunch number 94, the post-President's Day edition. I'm Roger Harmon, your host, with GoFor Technology, where we make your technology work for you. So we're going to talk about some Google technology today. And the question is, what is 2FA? Well, 2FA stands for Two Factor Authentication. Now, Google wanted to change things up a little bit, so they called their version two-step verification. It's abbreviated as 2SV. So what are these two-step, two-factor verification authentication systems? So the first factor or step is something you know, and that was going to be a password. And then it is something that you have. And that will be usually your iPhone, could be your Mac, your iPad, or it could be an app, or it could be a hardware device. So the history of this situation is that back there in 2018, Google noted that only 10% of their accounts had two-factor or two-step verification turned on. So they decided last May that they were going to take care of this problem for you by having 150 million accounts switched over to 2SV by the end of 2021. So they did. So they sent you an email that should have looked like this, that said, soon you will sign in with two-step verification. And of course, they explained it. After you enter your password, you will do the second step on your phone, so keep your phone nearby. And that will be turned on automatically on November 9th. And you can turn it on sooner if you like. So they said, why is this changing? It's because it's more secure. And how does it work? After you enter your password, you tap on your Google prompt on your phone or get a sign-in code, which would be a text, and that's how you activate the two-step verification. So you probably already have it. But if you want to check for sure, then you would go to the Google Security Checkup. And so we're going to do that right now. So here we are at the Google Security Checkup, and you can get there by going to myaccount.google.com, and you'll see a choice there for your security checkup. So there's several things here that we're going to might as well talk about since we're here, but we'll talk about two-step verification first. And it says here that two-step verification is on. To get a little more details, then we go down here and click on the little down arrow on the right. And it says it's turned on, and the device that it's going to use is my iPhone. And then here's the phone number that it will use, and we're going to talk more about that phone number in a minute. And then here are the backup codes, which you may not be familiar with. So the backup codes are accessed by clicking on this link here, which are the two-step verification settings. Of course, we have to sign in to do this. So we're in the GoFor Tech Gmail account. Couldn't get the right spelling, so I had to get that one. And here we have, again, that it's going to use my phone for the second step. And down here now we have a little arrow, and we can click on this. So I would highly recommend that you download and or print these 10 codes. And this is another way that you can get back into your account. So have those handy, and of course file them someplace where you can find them in case you need them. So we're going to hit the back arrow and go back and look at a couple other things here. So this is our recent security activity. So this is a new sign-in. These are all on February 20th, and a new sign-in on my phone. Not sure why it's a new sign-in, because I've been using this phone to get on Google for 2 years, but they do some strange things. And then down here we have review security activity. So we can see here that on February 20th at 5:25 p.m. there was new activity. I added a phone number. So I didn't actually add a phone number. I just, in preparation for this, I just re-entered my same phone number. And then again, this doesn't make any sense because I sign into Google from all my devices all the time, but they seem to forget that I've been signed in. So don't let that alarm you. That's just the way it works. Another interesting little fact here is you see sometimes it says Arizona, sometimes it says United States. So they can't seem to get it more precise than that. So if we go back here, I think this is the one I want, yeah. So if we go back here to this page, and then we go back one more page. Okay, so this is giving me a different page than what I wanted. But this may be the page you get, so we'll go with this page. So you can see here that two-step verification is on. Now, we can click here. See, we have high security, wants us to sign in again. So that's when a password manager is really good to have. So up here at the top, you can turn this off if you want to. I don't recommend it. It definitely makes your account less secure. I have had people that did have their Gmail hijacked by hackers. So I don't recommend you do this, but you can. Okay. So here's your phone number. So we're going to talk about that here in just a second. So next thing we're going to look at is check for devices that are no longer in use. So let's see if we can get to that, because my window has changed in the last 10 minutes. Okay, here we go. So Google was busy at work while I was preparing because I had a completely different window. But hopefully this is a new window that you'll see. So we see we have devices that are currently signed in. I'm signed in on a Mac. Well, I don't know which Mac, but this is the one I'm on. Signed in with a iPhone 11. Signed on with a iPhone, who knows what iPhone that is. I'm guessing that's my iPhone 6. And then down here it has 5 more. So here's another iPhone, an iPad, another Mac, still another Mac, and an iPhone 5S. Not sure why they could identify the iPhone 5S, but they couldn't identify the iPhone 6. Excuse me. So if you see a device on here that you no longer have, like an old iPhone or an old Mac that you've recycled, then you click on the 3 little dots here and you sign out. If you see a device that you don't recognize, then you would click on this option and follow the steps there to get rid of that device. Hopefully you don't have that problem. Okay. So update your phone number. So you want to confirm that the number that's attached to your Google account is your current phone number. So story time. So recently I had a client who had a problem with her Gmail not working on the Apple Mail app. So normally what we do is we delete the account and re-enter it, reinstall it. So when we went to do that, it wanted to send the second step to a phone that she no longer had. So it was a phone that she canceled the account on. She got a new phone number, but she never knew to replace that phone number in Google. So that's what prompted this information coming to you today, so that that does not happen to you. So let's go back and see where you would check on that. So as we go up here, click on the little back arrow and scroll down and go into two-step verification. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. So there's a couple of things here. Here's a security question. And here is my recovery email, which, by the way, did not work for her. She had a recovery email, but Google didn't ever give us the opportunity to use that in lieu of the phone number. And so here we would add a mobile phone number. Not sure why it says add, because I've already added a phone number. Oh, look, we get to log in again. Okay, so add a recovery phone number. So we're going to, there may be other numbers associated. So we're going to manage our numbers first. So there's my recovery phone number right there, and it's been verified. So the moral to this story is, if you have a phone number in here that you no longer have access to, you need to change that to a phone number that you do have access to, so that you don't run into the problem that she did, because we were never able to recover her account, and so we had to abandon her account, give her a new Gmail address, send a message to all of her contacts of her new address, and hope that she knows what companies that she left that email address with, that she needs to notify of the new address. So don't get into that problem. So again, the backup options include making sure you have the right number, getting those 10 backup codes downloaded so you have those, and hopefully you'll never need them, but you'll have them. So we are going to switch gears here and talk about 3G cellular going away. So 3G is an old system for cellular phones. As you probably know, we have 4G, and now 5G is rolling out very rapidly. So the phone companies, the cellular phone carriers, have decided that 3G is no longer something they want to support. So they're shutting it down. So here's when each company will cease operating their 3G networks. Today, AT&T is shutting down 3G. Verizon is waiting till the end of the year. The Sprint 3G CDMA network will be shut down on March 31st. Their LTE network is on June 30th. And T-Mobile is going down on July 1st. So, if you have an Apple 5, 5C, or 5S or earlier iPhone, you will no longer have cellular connectivity. If you have a Samsung Galaxy or S4 or earlier, you will be in trouble. So, check with your friends, your neighbors, your elderly parents, and see what they have and help them if they have this problem. So that if they have a 3G flip phone, then it's going to be in trouble. 3G Home Connect, that's the box that you can get from most of the cellular carriers to connect your home phone to, but it goes out over the cellular network, so those could be 3G. And if you have an iPad 2 or earlier, and we're going to talk about here in just a second, your car could be affected. So there's some remote lock and unlock services that are on 3G, voice assistants, emergency call services, and burglar alarm systems, live traffic and hazard updates, and of course older smartphones. So let's talk about your car. I was really surprised to see that these car manufacturers have not updated their technology, and in this case, if you have an Acura RDX, they were using 3G in the last 2 years. If you have an Audi, not quite as bad, 2019. Bentley, up till 2020. BMW, 2019. We don't know specifically which models of GM products are affected, so you'll have to check with your dealer if you're having problems. Honda, if you have a Pilot with the Touring Elite or Black Edition trims, as recently as this year, they were using 3G. So you can see here that we have lots of somewhat late model vehicles, 2020 in the case of Mazda, Mitsubishi if you have the Techmatics equipped models, and here we have Porsche up to 2021, Chrysler again, we don't have specifics because probably there's a whole lot of different combinations, and Subaru looks like 2019 is the latest. If you have a Forester, 2016 to 2018, you will be affected. So what should you do? Well, sorry, there's more. Tesla before June 2015, Forerunner 2010 to 2019, and then there was another one in here that was fairly late model. Where was it? I guess that's the worst. So Volkswagen, we got 2019, and Volvo, we've got looks like 2018. So what should you do? Well, check with your dealer. Maybe they have some kind of a module that you can plug into your car that will fix this. So that's the story on 3G. So while you're putting your questions in, please remember to share the GoFor Gazette, which comes out every Monday at 7 o'clock with friends that use Apple products. And there is a new update for the iPhone, iOS 15.3.1. It's a security update. I searched the internet to see if there was any problems with it. I couldn't find any. So I updated, and it seems to be working fine. This, again, is a security update, so we recommend that you do that. So let's see what's happening here in the comments. So I'd like to welcome Chris and Bob and Judy and Mary and Phil and Phyllis. And Chris says, if we have access to a Gmail account through Apple Mail or Outlook, yes, it does not matter how you get to the Gmail, you will be affected. So you would need to go into the Google security and make sure everything is current. And Leslie Ann says, when overseas, they don't seem to be able to send code messages on the iPhone. Well, that is a problem. So you can't get a text when you're overseas. That could be, so if you're using your carrier, so are you using your normal carrier from the United States, or are you getting a SIM from the country you're in? So let me know about that, Leslie Ann. And Susan says the phone numbers have to be able to accept text. Yes, so you can't put a landline in. Like, even though the Verizon home phone does operate on cellular, it does not receive text. So that's a very good question, Susan. So it has to be a phone that, yeah, that's tough about your Bentley, Leslie Ann. I'm sorry. Just, the way the cookie crumbles. And Bob says, I don't make any calls with my car. I make them on my iPhone. Bob, I think as far as the 3G in your car, I'm not sure exactly how that works. So you'd have to check with your dealer if you have one of those models that's affected. I just saw a little text come in here from Catherine on my messages. Says that she gets texts when she's overseas with Verizon. So, okay, so you're using a SIM. So I think the answer to that, Leslie Ann, is to check with the SIM providers, before you go over. And with the late model phones, you have an eSIM, and you could use the eSIM and check with the provider and see if they will allow you to receive your texts on their service. And Susan says some services send automated voice messages to a landline. Yeah, so you could do that. You could have multiple phone numbers in Google, and one could be a landline, and you could say call instead of text. Good point, Susan. Okay, so I don't see any more questions. Hopefully you will be able to avoid the pitfalls that I talked about here today, and those problems with your Gmail account won't work. I mean, you won't have those problems with your Gmail account. So thank you all for joining today, and we will see you next week.